Hey, I'm Gavin. Welcome to the channel. I'm an artist building a card game, and I'm documented here on YouTube. I am starting a YouTube channel, so there's lots of trial and error and learning the process as I'm going. And in that, life happens. I'm working a full-time job, and I had a difficult week, so I figured I learned a lot. And I learned about what habits are sticking and what habits aren't sticking. And in that, I tried to change things around. So I'm going to talk about that and what I did to adjust to make my habits more successful for me and make my system more healthy so that I can live with it and not feel like I'm just grinding against it. In this video, I took this concept sketch to a final color drawing. And so why don't you guys just watch as I pull that through, and I'll talk about my what I've learned this week. So let's jump on in. I've been working on keeping track of my habits. I've been thinking it's a good thing to do to get yourself in a routine, especially starting something new like YouTube. All these different things can come at you at once, so it's good to just have some type of routine. I'm a creature of habit through and through, and in that I chose to use Habits. It's this app. I am not sponsored by it. It is just the app that I used. It was an easy interface, worked well, so I thought, hey, fuck it, let's jump into it. So I started throwing down some habits on it to try to keep track of it. In that, his first 3 habits, I wanted to start simple. So I went out with workouts, just making sure I do a workout 5 times a week. Time spent on YouTube channel, minimum was 30 minutes, just try to do it daily. That could be just compiling, information for videos, brainstorming, or drawing, or coming up with ideas. And then the other one was gratitude. Just in the morning, make sure I'm grateful for all the good things that happen. And it's easy in a fast-paced world to take things for granted, so it's good to just ground yourself and remember to be thankful. So I started off with those 3 habits, and those were going really well. I was waking up, getting, being thankful. So at the end of the day, they give you check marks, or you can get alarms for your habits. And so I would just mark off that I did them because I was staying on top of my shit. And so I decided, I kept going with it. I wanted to keep building. This is when, right around that, time I started my YouTube channel. So I wanted to make sure that I was growing as well. One of the things was recording myself, make sure that my camera presence gets better. I know it's not perfect, and I know I have a lot of growth when it comes to being on camera. I'm shy and I can be awkward, so I'm trying to bust past that to be a little bit more authentic. Yeah, and so that's definitely the goal. So recording myself daily, that's just been like, just journal entries, talking about my day, making sure that I'm not every other word, little shit like that. Then on top of that, it's just, the last one was just draw something for 15 minutes a day. So I decided, that seems like a pretty doable one. I want to stay sharp in art. It's kind of my field that I would love to do. If I wasn't drawing, I don't know what I would be doing, so it's my escape, but also it's my passion. So I wanted to make sure I'm drawing every day. Now, fast forward to 2 weeks ago, everything kind of hit me all at once. My mom went into a triple heart surgery that weekend because everything was going on. I started canceling plans. Now, that sounds so minimal, but it bothers me because I like to, when I say I give my word and I stay to it. And on top of that, that same weekend, I got into a car accident, and I'm still waiting to see if my car is totaled or not. So pretty rough. Through all that chaos, you start learning what part of your systems can hold through. How much drive do you have? And surprisingly, I was able to keep my habits going. I think that might have been one thing that kept me sane through all that. Although being with family and making sure that I'm being supportive while continuously growing is pretty difficult. But through all that chaos, it's really hard to get personal growth, and it's kind of a ripple effect. I started seeing some of my habits kind of getting pushed to the wayside, and I'd fit them in. Some of my sketches weren't really that great that I was spending time on. Drawing is such a pivotal part. Like I said, it's like passion. But I was spending time just putting time in, and these sketches were just terrible. Like I was just kind of sitting in front of a piece of paper going, okay, you got to draw for 15 minutes a day. Now, this habit is
rooted in this idea that I love drawing and I love this, this passion. But then I just kind of put myself in front of a piece of paper and said, all right, now draw. And through everything going on, that just became increasingly more difficult to do. That being said, I started seeing that one fall to the wayside, and I started allowing myself to not beat myself up, because my inner perfectionist will tear myself apart and braid myself with negative thoughts. And you have to learn that it's not about perfection, it's about progress and just moving past it and keep going through. So even if I fail a day not keeping up my habit, it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. So I figured, okay, I'm just going to keep chugging through. But I started realizing that out of all my habits, working out, being grateful, spending time on the YouTube channel, recording yourself, drawing something was the one habit that I kept continuously losing. I kept missing it on a day. I think I have a day, how many days stretch? 4 days stretch of missing drawing something. Out of all the habits, that was the one that didn't seem like it had enough oomph. Kind of struck me off guard. I was like, why is this one habit, the one habit that means the most to me, that you would think, falling to the wayside? So to stay in that rhythm, I started realizing it wasn't really grounded. These habits that I add to this app all mean something right now. Building a channel, working out has just been always consistent. It means so much to me, and it's probably a dopamine rush, so I'm probably getting, some release there from just being there and working out hard. And I've also found ways to get a workout in without killing myself, so I think that's also a total benefit. Doing a lot more runs now than I ever have before. So changing things up, making things a little lighter. And I think that's kind of a key to the habits, is find a way to make them lighter on you and easier. And drawing something in itself is a vague, weak habit, and it didn't weather the storm. So I started making this analogy that habits are like plants, and when you don't give the plant water and light, its roots are weak, and through a bad storm, it gets uprooted and gets destroyed. So in that, my habit of drawing something every day didn't weather the storm. So what does that mean? Well, the light that the plants need is my inspiration, or it's a creativity fuel. It's that creativity fuel that you need. It's that inspiration that you get consuming stuff that is related to what you're doing. So if you love cars, maybe it's getting into your car and driving more and just enjoying that time with your car. If you make comic books, going to the comic book store and reading more comic books. For me, it's consuming art. It's something that I didn't really do a lot of because I was so busy building a YouTube channel, working out, trying to stay close with relationships, just trying to all around it do it all, burning the candle on both ends. I cut out a lot of stuff that I felt was unnecessary, but in the end, it's super necessary to who I am. So I decided to bring back the light. Started adding Pinterest in between my workouts, so in between sets. So just kind of peruse Pinterest to make sure that I'm keeping that creative thunder. So then you need the water. Your plant's going to need water. Well, your water is going to be your direction. I sat down and said, draw something. You can't get any more directionless. Like, that is just so vague. If you look at these sketches, they're just so dry and boring because I sat there and said, draw something. So my sketches needed direction. And the roots, that's like my emotional connection. That's what that root system is. And over time, the roots got weaker and weaker because I wasn't watering. I wasn't giving it direction. So how did I do to address this? Obviously, I started looking at Pinterest more. I started viewing my art as more of a task, like a goal. And that actually helped me work harder on it rather than what you would think the opposite. I made it so that, hey, let's draw t-shirts. Like the last design I did, it was concept for a t-shirt. But I had fun drawing it. I came up with a handful and it was good. I got lost in the work. So I figured that's maybe what that habit's missing, that direction. So I started watering my habit. So I came up with a bunch of different designs. That's actually where this design came from. I started watering my habit. I started giving it direction, and that's where this took me. As you see, that's where everything comes together from here. From where the video ended, I did not record myself adding some of these changes right here. Some of the things I did do, I did add another layer of purple on top to deepen the color. I added a flashlight light coming in, and I added some additional highlights on the fudge, and I added a thick black border. So here's the final art for the drawing from concept to finished drawing. I hope my deep dive for habits helped to illuminate some of the troubles that you could be having with building habits or sticking to some of your goals, because habits are those consistent markers that are going to help you grow. Because every day, if you could just be 1% better, overall, you're going to be better at anything you put your mind to. So it's really, really good to just build healthy habits and water them, make sure they're not stuck in a corner, give them enough light. So that's what that day of rest is. Consume the media. Don't just output, but consume, especially if you're in a creative endeavor. That's what's going to help your habit flourish. But in all, thanks for watching. And I'm Gavin. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.